Hello students. So today's topic is salts. In my last video we have learned about the acid, bases, indicators, types of indicators and also the chemical properties of acid and bases. We have seen that whenever acid and bases react they form salt and water, and many other reactions we have seen in the chemical properties which explains that salts are forming. So, what are salts? If we talk about the salts definition, then it is very simple that salts are the ionic compounds consisting of mainly two parts. What are they? Positively charged ions or negatively charged ions. The positively charged ions is called as cations, while the negatively charged ions are known as anions. If we talk about some important points, then we can say that the number of positive as well as negative ions are always equal whenever the salts are forming. That means the salt is an electrically neutral compound. Okay. The positive ion which is usually formed in a salt is a cation which is metal. So whenever the metals are there, then that part will be of salt, which is always positive ion. For the salt, at least one cation, that this cation must be different from H plus ion, because in salts the because in acids generally H plus ion is captured by this cation. So this cation is in acid is a H plus ion, but in case of salt it must be different. That means it must be different from H plus ion, and same for anion, it must be different from hydroxyl ion. Okay. Now let us talk about some preparation methods of salts. First method is neutralization. You all know that what is neutralization. So whenever acid and bases react, they will form a neutral compound, that is your salts. If we talk about from preparing the salts from insoluble oxides, so which are the insoluble oxides? Copper oxide or lead oxide. If we take these two oxides, then they are insoluble in water. How we know? After this topic, we will study about the solubility of salts or compounds. There we will study about the solubility and insolubility. But for now, you can focus that from insoluble oxides, by taking acids, you can prepare the salts. How? Let us check. You all know that whenever copper is reacting, it is always positive ion and this is negative ion. So copper will actually react with H2SO4 and it will take the sulfate ion. So copper along with sulfate will form copper sulfate. Now what about next product? That will be your water. So your copper sulfate will be a salt. Same if we talk about lead oxide and nitric acid, then the negative terminal of that nitrate will go along with the positive terminal, that is of lead, and you will be getting lead nitrate plus H2O. So in this way you can get the reaction. How it happens? It is very simple. You can again check. This lead combines with this nitrate ion and it will form lead nitrate. How? I have given this 2 here because the charge of lead is plus 2 and of nitrate it is minus 1. So we will just crisscross the charges. So the charge of lead will be transferred to nitrate and nitrate charge, that is minus 1, will be transferred to lead, and lead will be 1 and nitrate will be 2. That is why whole 2 we have to write here. So in this way you can check the balancing also. Both sides they are balanced, so it is called as a balanced chemical equation. Next, from insoluble hydroxide we can obtain salts. How? Let's check. Suppose if I take copper and lead hydroxides, because these are insoluble oxides also and insoluble hydroxide also. So again if I react the copper hydroxide with H2SO4, then I will be getting copper sulfate and water, and here I will get same product, that is lead nitrate and water. Now we have to check for the balancing whether the reaction is balanced or not. See, copper is 1, here also 1. Sulfate is 1, here also 1. But what about hydrogen? Hydrogen is 2 plus 2, 4. and here it is only 2, and oxygen is 2, here only 1. So we'll just put 2 here so that it can be balanced now. Now again if I check for the next reaction, then again here hydrogen is 1 and this is 2, that means 3, and here oxygen is 2 and here it is 1. And then let's check all the material, that is element quantity. Here 3 to the 6, 6 plus 1, that is 7. So what we can do, here it is 2 and here it is 3. Okay, sorry, no, it is 2 plus 3, that is 5. So what we can do, we can simplify it by 2. So it will become 2 and 3 to the 6, 8. So it will be 2, and if we kept 2 here, it will be 3 to the 6 plus 2, it will be 8. So here both side it is balanced. If we talk about hydrogen, 2 to the 4, so it will be now 2 plus 2, this is 4. Next if I check about the reaction that is from insoluble carbonates, then we can say that your copper sulfate is again forming. How? Because the copper is positive and sulfate is negative, so it will combine, and here CO2 will be also going out. Why? Because whenever carbonate is there, we will just remove the CO2 gas from this reaction. Another product will be your H2O. So here you can check, CO2 is gone, oxygen is left. This oxygen will combine with this H2 and it will form H2O. Now you can check the reaction is already balanced. Let's go about talk about the lead carbonate and HNO3. Then it will be lead nitrate, and along with it will form H2O plus CO2, because we have got HCO3. Let's take next reaction, that is from soluble hydroxide. If we talk about soluble hydroxide, we can take an example of alkali metals. So sodium hydroxide or potassium hydroxide if we take, then if we react with it with acid, then what will be the compound? NaCl plus H2 and KCl with H2 will be formed. If we talk about soluble carbonates, then we can take an example of sodium carbonate, and it will be forming a NaCl, and this HCO3 will be converted into H2O plus CO2, because I've told you whenever carbonate is there, they will generally be when heated, they will be evolved as CO2 gas. Here also the same thing happening, that is ammonium chloride will be formed along with water and CO2. So you can put arrow here for the gas. Next we can take an example, that is method by simple displacement of hydrogen from mineral acids. So if we take mineral acids, we can take that hydrochloric acid or H2SO4. These are mineral acids. I have told you that these are inorganic acids because they do not contain carbon. So if we take any mineral acids and if we react with metals, so what will happen? Simple displacement of hydrogen will take place. That means your hydrogen will be displaced out. How? Let's check. Zn will actually attracted with the Cl, so it will form ZnCl2, and hydrogen will be formed as H2 gas. So we can balance it by keeping 2 here. And if Fe is there, it will go along with the sulfate to form ferrous sulfate, and H2 will be formed like. So it is already balanced, so will not put any balancing coefficients. Next is by direct combination of elements. If we combine elements, that is iron along with the chlorine, then what will happen? Here FeCl3 will be formed. How? Because here the iron along with chlorine will be balancing by 3Cl2, and we will be keeping 2 here and 2 here. So it will be forming ferric chloride. And if we talk about zinc and sulfide, then it will be formed as zinc sulfide. They will both combine. Okay, so there is no any other product. So this is a type of combination reaction which is only giving single kind of products. Next is by precipitation reaction. This means that if the reaction will take place, definitely there is a formation of precipitate. How? Let's check. If lead is there, and if it is combining with sodium chloride, then this lead will take out the chloride from this Na, and this Na will take out the nitrate from this lead. So it will be forming NaNO3 and it will be PbCl2. We have to check that whether it is balanced or not. So we'll just balance it by keeping 2 here, and it will be now 2Cl. So it is already balanced now. Okay. Next, if we take about example, that is calcium chloride and sodium carbonate, what will happen? Na will go along with Cl and Ca will go along with carbonate. So it will be CaCO3 and NaCl. So you can see that PbCl2 and calcium carbonate both are insoluble compound. So that means they will take part in a double displacement reaction by exchanging their ions, and double displacement reaction result in the formation of precipitate. Okay, in my next video I will talk about the solubility of salts. Thank you.